Coming to you live from Oracle Code 1 2018 in beautiful downtown San Francisco. I'm Bob Rubart with the Oracle Groundbreakers team, and my guests are Weir and Wes Davis. Tell the folks at home what you do and where you do it and what sort of trouble you get into.
So I'm the CEO for the Oracle practice of Capgemini in the UK. I'm basically responsible for technology direction. We'll also work with clients, especially in leading edge projects, helping with architecture and delivery overall. I'm also an Oracle Ace Director and a Groundbreaker Champion.
So I'm Wes Davis. I'm Principal Architect for the Co-op in the UK, which is a major food retailer. I'm accountable for their enabling functions area of the business, which incorporates HR, finance, risk, those sorts of functions.
Both of you are involved in a project that has been nominated for an Oracle Excellence Award. Tell me about your involvement in that, and what was the nature of that project?
So we are currently a Oracle Cloud customer. We've got a big footprint, including HCM Fusion, PeopleSoft Help Desk, and also Taleo Recruitment Cloud. We are using Taleo Cloud successfully to recruit those resourcing-led hires, such as myself, working in the big office mass location areas, but it's not suitable for our store manager shop-based recruitment, which is currently largely paper-based. We needed to develop a custom, intuitive, user-centric UI to sit on top of Taleo.
We were basically competing for this piece of work. We proposed an API-led, microservice-oriented solution to this problem. Bearing in mind that we're talking about 3,000 stores in the UK that are going to be accessing and using this system in real time. So our proposal was to create a very rich, responsive user interface using Oracle Jet, but also led the experience through proper API design using Oracle API Platform API. And then we used actually Spring Boot to implement services that could elastically scale in the Oracle Application Container Cloud. So our role in this solution was to realize the vision from Co-op and from Wes into something that was real and live. And today I'm proud to say that we are in production. And I think Wes can summarize the benefits of the solution, but we're in production as of June. And my role was actually to define the architecture and make sure that we had the right skills and the team to deliver it.
So how's it working out, Wes?
It's pretty good. So as Louis says, we went to Capgemini with a hypothesis landscape. They helped us flesh it out, put some meat on the bones. Been live for 3 months now. As of the 1st of October, that's live to all 2,500 plus stores. Ramped up since roughly May, June this year. It's working well. So 100,000 applicants so far.
Wow. Running
through the system.
Now, Louis, you have quite a reputation as being the go-to guy for API stuff.
That's right.
You were one of, I think, 4 authors on, I think the title is Implementing Oracle API Platform.
That's right.
That was published back in May. I think that's O'Reilly was the publisher?
It was Pack Publishing.
Pack Publishing, yeah. My fault. Why the interest? Why the focus on APIs and API management?
Because I think APIs enables modern businesses. In this case, APIs was the main enabler to deliver a user experience that was suitable to solve the problem that the Co-op had, right? Mm-hmm. But there are many other use cases where APIs enables, for example, IoT. APIs enable as well, for example, connectivity or access to information. And also APIs enables an economy. In the case of eBay or Expedia, for example, they actually monetize on selling information assets and functionality. So I think APIs is, in my opinion, one of the main enablers, not the only one, but one of the main enablers in the digital ecosystem.
Yeah,
it's a very important component of modern architecture. And if you think about modern technologies, you're always going to be talking about APIs one way or another.
You participated in a podcast that's actually available now. It's Oracle Developer Community Podcast number 358, and that's all about the challenges inherent in microservice design and implementation. How did microservices fit into this project with Co-op?
Well, quite a lot actually. So the architecture, the way it works is we are using Oracle Jet. If you're not familiar with Oracle Jet, it's a JavaScript framework, actually open source that provided by Oracle. Is what Oracle is using to implement their user experience as part of the Oracle Cloud products. It's quite rich. It's quite, I would say strong when it comes to speeding up UX patterns, right? It has a lot of pre-cooked recipes, right? But it's based on an architecture known as MVVM, Model View View Model, right? Mm-hmm. Which means that you need a lot of APIs to be able to access information and functionality, right? So for the API is just the interface. It's just a door. But what's inside that door, right? You need to implement the business logic somewhere. You need to encapsulate that logic somewhere. So we're using microservices or services based on microservices architecture, right? Back to Chris' point that there's no such thing as a microservice, right? We're building services using Spring Boot that encapsulate pieces of bounded context logic, and then we deploy these services to a container cloud. In this case, application container cloud. Well, the plan talking to Wes is to move to the next gen managed Kubernetes.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Now, I forgive me for not knowing this up front, but are the two of you presenting anything together?
Well, we've done our first this morning, so talking about this solution that we're discussing right now. So we gave an overview of that. We've got another one this coming Thursday, focusing on the IDCS element of the solution.
Because you're presenting, 27, 28 sessions here at Coco?
5.
That's a lot. The focus is primarily on API management and microservices?
Not really. I mean, 2 of the sessions are really more about the case study, sharing a lot of the experience. So we had a session today. I think it went quite well. A lot of questions, but it was more an overview. So we took a business angle to explain what was the problem, which Wes articulated quite well. Then spoke about how technology solve the problem, but then he talked about the benefits, the business benefits, right?
Yeah.
So it was important to understand that technology solves the business problem, right? It needs to add value. So that's kind of the approach we took. We have another one Thursday, which at 9 a.m., which is more about how we solved a specific area of the solution around basically identity, which was a major requirement and not an easy one to solve. So we're deep in dive on that. I'm doing 2 more sessions with Lucas Lehema, Roneke, Guido, Sven, right, and Jose on the story through the cloud, which is a hardcore. We build a complete from the ground up an e-commerce application based on microservices principles. So we're doing 2 demos, and then I'm doing 1 session on API design. It's titled "The 7 Deadly Sins of APIs Design." Sorry.
But can you think what's the top deadly sin for APIs?
Oh, that's a tough question. Well, I would say, yeah. Ooh, now you make me think.
Well, let's come back to that. What I want, because you mentioned that you had a lot of questions in your session this morning.
Yes.
Do you remember a couple of the questions?
Yeah, one of the questions was I don't remember the name of the person that asked the question. He was actually asking why use Oracle Jet when you have, for example, BBCS, right? Mm-hmm. And I mean, the simple answer to that question is we wanted to have full control over the experience, not just from a user interface perspective, but also from a deployment perspective, right? So in Oracle Jet, it's pretty much, you're in full control. You do it yourself, right? So it satisfied the needs that we had. I don't know, Wes, if you want to complement.
Yeah, no, so I agree. With us having such a large Fusion footprint already, and this being an extension of that set of applications, usability is important to us, and what we wanted to ensure was that we had a consistent user experience, and using the Jet libraries allows us to build a UI that is in line with Fusion and Taleo as it comes out of the box, and keep in line with that as we add upgrades.
Any more books on the horizon?
Yes.
I'm
finishing.
I walked right into that one, didn't I?
I'm finishing chapter 4 for a new book titled Enterprise API Management. I maybe should change the name to Enterprise API Strategies. Okay. This is really what the book is about. It's not so tied to technology. It's more about sharing my experience on helping organizations like the COP or all the big organizations on how to establish an API program, right? To help the organization, deliver or help deliver digital strategies, right? For example, if you're trying to become multi-channel or you're trying to improve your mobility capability within the organization, or you're trying to do a more effective B2B, there's so many use cases. I help organizations define, what APIs are, and from a business standpoint, how they can drive business benefits. So the book starts with that angle, but then it goes deeper dive into what capabilities you need and how different techniques that you can take to approach different problems.
And is this a solo effort, or are you working with? Oh, okay.
Yeah, this time I took the challenge on my own. It's taking me longer than I expected because I've been very busy, but I'll finish it probably May, June next year. That's the target now. And it's really, in all honesty, sharing my experience doing API strategies for some of the largest organizations in the planet, actually.
And will that also be available through Pact?
Yeah.
Okay. If you want more, especially on microservices insight from Louis, and again, he's one of the panelists on the current Oracle Developer Community podcast. It's program number 358. It's with Louis, Lucas Helema, Sven Bernard, and Chris Richardson, who's got quite a reputation as a microservices expert and has one of the funniest metaphors for one of the problems with implementing microservices. But you'll have to listen to the podcast for that. But check that out. You'll find that if you go to developers.oracle.com and look for the podcast category, and it's the latest program, again, number 358. A great listen, so check that out. Louis, Wes, thank you so much for your time today. For the Oracle Groundbreakers team, I'm Bob Rubart. Thanks for watching.